In the suttas, it always starts, every sutta, it starts with, thus we have heard, right? And then there are all the stories of the Buddha's, where he was teaching for many years of his life. And so this sutta starts, thus we have heard. And at that time, the Buddha was staying in a monastery called Jeta Grove. And actually, all of these places are still very alive in India. Jeta Grove, there's a Vipassana center there, and these magical places throughout Asia. But he was staying in Jeta Grove, and they say in the text that after the Buddha attained full awakening, the end of suffering, sensation, a liberated heart, that he no longer needed to sleep, that he rested his body, but he was never, the desire to go to sleep, just it no longer was there. And so from the hours of 11 p.m. to 3 a.m., after all the monastics had went to sleep and he was done with those duties, he would then talk to all the celestial beings, devas, angels, all the higher beings that would come in the higher realms. And they would come and he would teach them for many hours. Sometimes the sutras are quite magical. He would sometimes journey up to the realms of the God realms, the 33 God realms, Sukhavati realm, all these different realms, and teach the gods who are not fully enlightened yet. You know, they're still on the journey, but they're still learning, they're still growing, they're still understanding the truth. So this particular night, they describe in this beautiful sutta is the whole forest lit up with light as this beautiful deva, a celestial being filled with light, came and approached the Buddha. And many of these beings, they would come forward and they would say, you know, is this a good time? I have a question, you know, for the teacher. And the Buddha, of course, said, yes, this is a good time to ask your question. And this particular deva's name was Rakashana. And Rakashana, believe it or not, was described with the term skywalker, that he could traverse through the universe at great, rapid distances and speeds in a single day. Like just travel. You also hear this with a lot of old Tibetan masters, that they would be Patrao Rinpoche, a great Tibetan teacher, he would appear in a whole other side of Tibet in like what would take some people 3 months, it would be like 2 days. He'd be like, oh, I walked fast, you know. And so anyway, this magic abounds here. But so he had this great ability and was born in this God body and was asked the Buddha, he said, I want to tell you, I have been traveling the universe for 100 years nonstop. And the Buddha's like, okay. And he said, in my travels, I have been desperately looking and searching for the end of suffering. And I have traveled every day, stopping very little for just a little sustenance, a little rest, but I have traversed across this universe miles and miles and miles for 100 years, and now I'm exhausted. And I have not found the end to suffering. And so, you know, he sits down and he's like venerating. He said, please, can you tell me, your teachings teach this? Where's the end of suffering? And then the Buddha goes on to have this incredible conversation with Rakashana. And he said, Rakashana, you cannot find the end of suffering through traveling and looking. And this is a powerful teaching for a lot of us with that wanderlusting gene. I admit I had that. Looking, the next thing, here we go here, right? But he goes on to tell Rakashana, he said, Rakashana, you'll never find the end of suffering there. And then Rakashana is like, oh no, right? I just spent 100 years on the wrong path. So he goes, okay, well, where? Tell me. And he says, Rakashana, the end of suffering can be found in the contemplation of your own body, right? Inside. And this teaching is a very common one in the Buddhist tradition. But I'm coming back to it because many of us right now are being asked to be in our bodies in a different way, right? To understand that liberation is connected to the physical body, because in the physical body, guess what? It lies the inner body. And so that teaching that he gave to Rakashana, and then they say Rakashana took that instruction and went off and began to sit and feel the breath, bring his attention into the body, into the heart, into the emotions, into the flesh, right? The place where nobody wants to go, right? Everyone's has this relationship of get me out of here, right? I see a lot of jokes right now where people are asking the aliens to come and it's a rescue mission, get me out of here. Like, I get it. Everybody wants to flee, but what if the awakening that is being asked of us right now is to come deeply into the body and to bring our body back online, right? To bring the body in its fullness. Like, what is the Buddha talking about through all these ancient texts? That the healing of the heart, the healing of humanity lies in through understanding our bodies. And so I want to just talk about how powerful this is, because we are trying to embody mettā. There is a way that we can think about it, and then there's a way that we can actually begin to breathe it in through the body, feeling it in the heart. I want to know where some of you feeling it as mettā gets stronger in you, you'll start to feel your heart center all the time activated. Again, I used to always describe the heart as being what? Like a satellite dish. This is a star, it's a connector, right? Your heart is what connects you to the higher realms. Your heart is what connects you to Ramana Maharshi, Dalai Lama, Harriet Tubman, all the great living masters and those that have passed on. They resonate through here. But we have to actually, at this stage of our awakening, it's about how are we relating to our body? And can we begin to feel love and awaken every cell in our body? And I'll tell you, a part of me that is very fascinated by this and has come home back. It's almost like everything I learned is coming back again. Because you have to hear the same thing over and over and over again, everybody. It's like, where are we going? Oh yeah, here. What's happening? How do I do this? Here. Because the mind, it's so forgetful. And we easily get swept up in what is happening in the world that we can forget. Oh yes, resting in the body-based awareness is the doorway to liberation, to mettā. The more you can feel your heart, the more the mettā grows. The more you can become awake in your body, the more liberation you're going to feel, which is almost feels counterintuitive, right? We're like, the body, that's where feelings are. And in our culture, in the Western culture, we are a culture that does not want to feel, that doesn't even know how sometimes, right? What do? We medicate difficult feelings. We pathologize sadness. We do everything to get rid of it, to separate from it. If we call something an illness, then we can have a war on it. A war on sadness, right? We see how far this gets us in the world. So we're coming. I feel like when I have these visions of us doing mettā, that when I say we're awakening the heart, we're awakening our bodies out of this numbness, right? This body out of it feels like we're like almost like we're in a tomb or something. And I keep having these visions like we're cracking out of the tomb, right? Through the power of love, it melts this ice. And that's everywhere you look right now in the media, this cruel iciness, even an organization called ICE, right? It's like it's so interesting, this cruelty that shrouds us. You have to be numb to hurt people. If you're awake in your body and you're mindful, there's no way that you can hurt people, not intentionally, not to think of a plan and then execute it. I mean, what a sad thought to wake up in the morning and be having thoughts like that. Whereas we wake up in the morning and we thought, how can I open my heart? How can I serve? Right? That takes a person who is feeling and intuitive. This wisdom of the body is a liberated wisdom. And the more we're coming out of this sleep state, the more we are becoming unfrozen, the more powerful life will become for us. And it's not easy because it's like a bumpy ride as you come back into your body. It's like, oh my God, it's kind of like you've been away from your house for a long time. And then what happens when you've been away from your house? Like, shut your house up for about a year and then come back to it. You're like, oh my God, what is all this in the garage? Where, a lot moves in, right? And so what happens is as we're coming back with the love, we're the places that we have left seeking liberation elsewhere, and we start to come back, the compassion calls us back. Right? The compassion literally is like, hey, everyone, come back. The truth is here. It's inside. I remember I was reading this Rumi poem that I like. It's like a short poem. And Rumi wrote, a pearl goes up on the auction blocks. No one bids. So the pearl buys itself. And I used to always think of that, right? We through the mettā, it's like we buy ourselves safe passage through embodiment. And this is part of what I want to encourage you all, that some of you are doing the 30-day mettā challenge, and to not give up right now as it gets hard. Many of you might start going through a lot of physical symptoms, and I really liken these to almost like ascension symptoms, as we're coming back in, like 5D physical sensations, energy. If you can put in the chat window if any of you have been feeling that. You might start to feel dizzy, the heart, powerful emotions start rising and passing. It's like as we're coming into our bodies, new things we're experiencing, right? More intuitive power. What's funny is that the deeper you embody, you're in your body, the more clairvoyant you become, the more wise you become. It takes that presence, right? This is our doorway. It's our doorway to mettā. It's our doorway to liberation. And it's our doorway to sanity right now, this body-based awareness. So also within the body, just the last thing I want to say, and then I'd like to open it up for some questions or comments, is that within this body is what? All of our DNA. Our DNA is of the stars, is of the Buddhas, is of infinity. Our dear friend Robert, who's a brilliant scientist, who's often on here, he'll sometimes comment. I'm not sure if Robert's on here tonight. He might be getting ready to travel, so maybe not. He's coming to Georgia. But he studies DNA, and he tells me that within our cells, the DNA strand is so long, it goes all the way to the sun and back. Right? Loops around, like this wisdom that we are awakening in our bodies, that there's a power right now. These energies that are destroying the planet, guess what? They're like zombies. They're disembodied entities. They're monsters of just greed, right? It's just like a hungry ghost. They're not embodied, right? Love is embodied. Right? Compassion. When we are embodied, we naturally protect each other. We naturally rise up out of the bed and go out into the day in a different way, because we feel that interconnectedness with all of life. We are humming with that. It's almost like we resonate with the truth. And that resonation, guess what? It resonates in your body, your water, your earth element. And so mettā, as you do your mettā practice, always try to stay one part of your awareness, stay with your heart. Keep grounding in your heart. Sometimes I do mettā and I'm just holding my heart. There's days where I've walked around where it literally felt like without my hand here, my heart would fall out, right? Like I'm holding it back together. And so this is the energy work. We are moving into this 5D energy, the air element. Now it's just a lot more energetic. So your body is going to start requiring your presence in deeper and deeper ways as you go through this process.